There's plenty to think about before you buy a home computer.
Electronic games being heralded by folks in the trade as this year's holiday bestseller.
Children have skipped school or stolen money to play the games.
I'll be looking at the electronic game craze.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer.
Hello, Internet. My sound levels aren't showing. There we are. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Streamer News. Bonus episode. This is season 2.5. I haven't changed anything yet for season 3 as I talked about. And obviously I'm working from a very temporary setup here. I'm talking very loudly. I'm going to tone it down here. Working from a very temporary setup. This is a preview of what the new studio is going to look like. This is my only camera angle today. So you get a nice little bokeh view of everything going on. And I plugged in my EposVox sign, but it's behind my head. So there's that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're doing a bonus episode today. I have missed this show. It's been about 2 months since my last Streamer News episode. I expected to come back quicker. I didn't expect this whole move and everything going on to have taken quite so long. And obviously I'm nowhere near done yet. But I could not have a Streamer News episode, right? I haven't even tweeted out the stream, so I'm going to do that real quick here as we are talking. I hope everybody had a wonderful hiatus from the show. You know, whatever you were doing in your time. Streamer News is live. All right, good enough. The people who matter are here, right? Yeah, you probably heard Brian from BPS Customs talking there for a sec. Video autoplayed. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Is that real bokeh? Yes, as opposed to fake bokeh. Like if I duck out of camera, whee, and it's back. Anyway, we have a bonus episode of Streamer News here. It's gonna be a fairly standard Streamer News episode in terms of talking about news, but I wanted to update you guys, chat, show off a little bit of the setup going on here. It's a little bit of a tease for the moving vlogs, but I think it'll still be worth watching. And we do go ahead and have some housekeeping topics to talk about, speaking of moving vlogs, with relation to what's been going on. In that, I did post the first of the moving vlogs. If you want to see how the new studio is getting made, I will have that linked in chat by the mods and things like that. So that was posted. That is starting a new series. I will go ahead and say, just because the tone will shift moving into the future episodes, this first episode is pretty much the only episode in which I was actually like filming myself talking into the camera, and then work got a lot more intense and a lot more like picked up, and we got very overwhelmed very quickly. So this is the only episode where I'm actually talking to the camera really, and then things kind of sweep away from there. So the tone in the second episode may be quite a bit different, and the editing will have to be a little bit different to compensate for that. And secondly, I did post an amazing, basically mini movie, so grab some popcorn if you plan on watching it, about what happened to Brime, the streaming platform that was not from last year. And then of course, January 30th, because I don't know that I'll have Streamer News next week, January 30th, which is a Saturday, we will be having the next Discord game night. We kind of put that on hold during 2020. I had a baby, and then I bought a house and all of this. And so there's a lot going on that we ended up just having to put a game night on hold. But we will be having a new game night, January 30th. I believe we're playing Overwatch. I'm not 100% certain yet, but if you want to join, discord.gg/EposVox. It'll be evening-ish on that day, Eastern time. So hang out with us. We'll have more details in the server, of course, if you would like to join. So that's it for housekeeping, other than I think at the end of the episode, I'm going to talk about some stuff I have going on with regards to my plans for the season 3 relaunch of Streamer News, because I always try to up it as I've been doing these seasons and try to make the real return of the show even better. So I've got some details for that we'll have at the end of the stream. But otherwise, we can just kind of jump into some topics here. Everything seems to be running smoothly, so I'm going to make the mistake of blocking off my OBS view so I can see chat. And we will just leave everything else as it is. So first and foremost in the news, we have a couple more video links just because it's easier to link to those people. Here we have Caleb Pike, and then we have New Layer. Aputure released some new lights for content creators that are actually pretty phenomenal. First, Aputure released the 100D and the 200D. These also come in X variants. So the X variants are bicolor, so they can do daylight or tungsten. I don't ever usually have a need or desire to use tungsten colored lighting, but that's an option available to you. So those were the first ones they released early in January, and then they just released the 60S X and 60D, which are even smaller and lower brightness, but for people on a budget or using cameras that don't need a ton of light, it is an option available to you. So pretty cool there. And then a different company by the name of Lupo just announced their Lupo Kick-Ass panel, which is a full color RGBW light that can provide up to 2100 lux, which is a measurement of light. 2100 lux at 1 meter, despite the fact that this is a tiny little like on-camera light. It draws just 20 watts of power. It can be powered over USB Type-C. This is a tiny little light that you just put on top of your camera for like run and gun shoots or something like that. And it provides a ton of light and is full RGBW, which is pretty insane. I don't think we have a word on price yet. Yeah, it even comes with the adapter mount to literally put it on your, $298 US, which is pretty expensive for such a small light. But if you are someone who needs two small lights for your production, be it a news crew, a vlog, something like that, where you need a small light and you need it to be powerful, honestly, that's not a terrible price for what you're getting there. So pretty cool. Next up, speaking of content creation and run and gun and small, Rode Microphones actually has a new filmmaker kit for iOS vloggers. It is the iOS Vlogger Kit. It contains a little smart grip, it contains a little tripod, it contains like the phone clamp, of course. You've got a tiny little light that's nowhere near as cool as the Lupo Kick-Ass panel, but hey, I digress. All of this in one little kit, along with a microphone as well, so that you can vlog with your iPhone and have decent, like, normal quality. I still question, I spend a lot of my time questioning the value proposition of getting an entire vlog kit for your phone, especially given that this probably costs a fair bit of money. Honestly, I didn't look yet because I was just going on first impression. So Vlogger Kit, buy now. Oh, they have universal USB-C and iOS, so that's interesting. Sure. DVE store, $149. For $149, you could, no, I'm gonna say for that price, you'd be tough to find a real alternative. But assuming you're going to do any sort of other video content creation, I still struggle to see the value of getting a full vlogger kit for your phone versus a little GoPro. Like, I've been doing my moving vlogs on this DJI Osmo Action. Little GoPro knockoff. Well, not knockoff, it's its own action cam, but a little action cam. Quality's decent. Now, of course, this is significantly more expensive, but there are other options, and there are other smaller mirrorless format cameras and things like that that would provide you a lot better quality. And if you're taking an entire kit that clamps around your phone and stuff anyway, it's not like you have the advantage of putting it in your pocket, of taking it, you know, of run and gunning, where you still have to mount your phone in it, and then you can't use it as your phone, and then you vlog with it until you take your phone out, and then you got all this other crap to keep up with that plugs into your phone so it's not stuck together. I struggle to see the value proposition, but there are still people who want to use that, and this is an option available to you, is what I was trying to say. Over in the PC hardware land of things, Intel has killed off all of their Optane-only SSDs for consumers with no replacements planned. Now, this was kind of clear after they kind of gotten rid of their entire NAND division. They spun off their enterprise Optane apparently into their own thing, but they killed off most of their NAND and said that the dedicated Optane-only SSDs are pretty much gone. However, Intel has stated that there is the Intel Optane Memory H20 for mobile consumers as well, which is a flash and Optane module for laptops, but pretty much all of that is gone. So I want to pick me up one of these. I never actually got to get my hands on one of these. I have used their other Intel NVMe drives, which has been blazing fast. Like every generation, they're always really fast and nice drives. And in fact, my main PC actually has an enterprise grade 3-inch U.2 NVMe drive that's in 4 terabytes. I got it for like $300 on eBay used. Been pretty awesome, but whatever. But this is still disappointing to see because it's one of those kind of cool, weird projects that Intel did that a lot of people enjoyed if you like fast storage and caching. Little note from me. I noticed on Instagram, browsing Instagram, I got an ad for this weird little LED strip that they described as an experience rather than a lamp. And suddenly I realized that Radio Shack is back and they're advertising that they're back. They appear to have been bought up, kind of like Circuit City was, by some, I'm sure you could look it up, but unknown to me, back-end company that just wants to launch them online, just selling generic tech stuff online, trying to take advantage of the brand. Unfortunately, it won't be the same thing that they were, but if you're interested in Radio Shack, would be worth noting. Something really weird is that Nvidia quietly released the Nvidia GeForce GT 1010. This is Pascal, a Pascal GP108 GPU. It has 256 CUDA cores, 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, and a 30-watt TDP. It is, of course, single slot, small form factor, just has DVI and HDMI. It's similar to the GT 1030, but it's smaller. It's about the same, but smaller and slightly less powerful. I have to imagine there's some small form factor PC market somewhere that they needed to fill this with the graphics card, but I can't imagine who needs it right now. I don't know. Really weird. Just wanted to note it because it's super weird. Red Giant, the company that makes some cool plugins for video editors and things like that I in fact use, has been acquired by Maxon so that they can expand their portfolio. Maxon makes Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D, that's the benchmark, right? No, Cinema 4D. Cinebench is the benchmark. Cinema 4D is kind of like Blender or Maya or whatever, 3D rendering, and they make a whole lot of other software for graphics. Sorry, I'm sleepy and breasty at the moment. But they make a lot of graphics and visual software, and they have acquired Red Giant. So I did get an email notice in my email inbox saying that my subscription would now be going to Maxon instead of directly through Red Giant, which is potentially concerning for the prices to go up. I just use the Universe package, which allows me to get certain plugins and things like that for transitions and effects for some of my VHS style stuff. I've been working over the past few years to kind of move away from them because they perform horribly. And every time I contact their support about performance, they're just like, have you tried running only one monitor? That should help. That doesn't help. It just performs like terribly, and their support is useless with that. So I've been trying to move away from it and establish my own, suite of effects that kind of replicate what I use from them. So I may end up having to cancel my subscription if they price hike it, but it could mean that they get some better development attention or some integration into Maxon's other products. So that could be pretty cool as well. Speaking of acquisitions, we have one more we're going to talk about after the break, but we're going to talk about one now. OWC, the third-party hardware accessory maker for Apple products. They make like Thunderbolt docks and things like that as well. They acquired LumaForge, who make the Jellyfish storage servers. You might have seen on TLD Today, or Jonathan Morse's channel. I don't know what he calls it now. It's probably just his name. Or MKBHD's channel. This is kind of like the Storinator or the 45 drives servers that Linus has been posting, but more oriented specifically for Macs. And OWC has acquired them to expand their catalog not just to consumer Mac products, but to enterprise and more server-oriented products as well. So that is pretty neat. Someone was asking if I was referring to Red Giant and Resolve. Yes, I had the same issues in Premiere. For the longest time, it was causing those GPU driver crashes until NVIDIA Studio drivers came out. I was working with NVIDIA for a long time to try to solve that because they would just use up all my VRAM and then crash. So I don't know that they performed any better. They were just more crashy. And then in Resolve, they just run like the highest speed I've ever seen the plugins from Red Giant render at, the ones that I use at least, are 5 frames per second. Even on my Titan RTX, my Threadripper, lots of RAM, whatever. and often it's 0.5 frames per second. And I've contacted support, I've worked through everything, and there's nothing they really have to offer me, like I said, other than the advice of unplugging a monitor because that improves performance, which is not the case. It's just not the case. Someone suggested I should look into Boris FX. They don't... I've looked into some of the stuff that they offer, like Sapphire and stuff, but they don't really offer anything that I use or would want, especially for the price, because they are quite expensive. Anyway, back to the topics. So next up, we have a couple Nintendo Pokemon, well, Pokemon related things. I love Pokemon, even though I'm not a Nintendo supporter necessarily, but supposedly the Switch is getting Diamond and Pearl remakes, which would be freaking awesome if true, because they've just kind of been working through the generations. We'll see. I still want them to make the Pokemon World Unified Region game, but it's the generation of games that are coming next, so it makes sense. I just hope that they make it more in line with the Platinum style rather than the Diamond and Pearl style, if you ask me. Next up, we have Pokemon Snap for Nintendo Switch. If you somehow missed this, after years of requests saying that they should have done it on the Wii U and on mobile and everything, they're finally doing new Pokemon Snap for Nintendo Switch, which will be the Lentil region. And there's a lot of new features and a lot of cool stuff. There's lots of Pokemon to take pictures of and things like that. And we've just been waiting on this for years and years, so I am super stoked. Pokemon Snap was always just kind of a relaxing, cool, chill little Pokemon experience. And hopefully they'll come up with some cool photo printing thing to go along with it, like they had with the original. I just saw, by the way, on Facebook, and I don't have pictures of this or anything, I just saw on Facebook that someone in one of my collector groups actually picked up, sorry, I'm reading chat at the same time. Someone picked up a full kiosk from Blockbuster that even came with a stack of unused, the little point of sale cards where you could load coins on them to print off your Pokemon Snap pictures. I am super into, even though I don't really have any myself, the collector scenes for kiosks and in-game demo or in-store game demos and things like that. And I have always wanted the like McDonald's Nintendo 64 kiosks that they had, as well as the Pokemon Snap print-off kiosk and some of those other Pokemon things. So pretty freaking cool. And so it's kind of neat to see that they're doing another Pokemon Snap. Yeah, pretty stoked for that. Couple more topics before we hit the break here. Going back to Nvidia, the product availability for their new graphics cards is, well, been a problem. Various sellers and AIB partners are increasing all of their prices. We already got a wave of that a couple weeks ago. We're getting a new wave of it here. And NewEgg is doing some sort of weird lottery system to get cards out there. I will say, I subscribed to alerts for Best Buy when I was still hunting down a 3090. I have since actually acquired it. But I turned on alerts, and for the past couple days, or maybe even the whole week, they've been doing like bursts of stock for the cards every like 15 minutes or so. So they'd like put up 3 and then 3 more and stuff. That way the different email notifications going around can get there. So I would suggest going through either EVGA's notification program, which I hear is really good, or Best Buy's stock notification, because those seem to be working pretty well. And then lastly here, we've got new custom watermark options for Xsplit Vcam. Now, this isn't super useful if you're streaming because you don't want any of that there. But if you're not streaming and you're using it for video conferencing, adding on your own little lower third, your watermark or whatever, could actually be useful for being on different shows that you're a guest spot for, like through Zoom or something, or just for having it for different, game shows or something like that. So it's a pretty cool feature. They've been adding in some other features since I've last covered Vcam. And so the 2.1 update is available and ready to go. Wanted to respond to a little bit of chat here for a moment. Someone pointed out that Boris FX is quite a bit different than Red Giant Sweets. Yep, totally. Shark is asking, are you a PC man or Mac? Primarily PC, of course. I do have the new Mac Mini, M1 Mac Mini over here on the ultra wide that I am testing out for streaming. I'm stoked for that. And the new, they just teased, I don't think I added it to the streamer news doc, so I can talk about it now. Yeah, I did not. Apple talked about the next generation of MacBook Airs and Pros, which will have MagSafe, will not have a touch bar, and will have something else. I was waiting on the second wave before I invest in a full laptop for a MacBook because it would be one of those laptops I want, you know, my forever laptop for like typing and stuff. And so I wanted to keep it that way. And so with the second wave, I may actually pick up one of the M1 MacBook Pros. What camera are you using for your video? A7S II with a G Master 24mm lens. Someone said to turn off autofocus. Nope, not going to do that because especially at this shallow depth of field, once I start moving, I'm going to be completely out of focus. And for the most part, again, this is a temporary setup. I'm not using the mount I want or whatever, so the angle's weird, so autofocus moves a little more than usual. But for my usual setup like this for tutorials, autofocus barely budges other than when I actually move. So no way in heck am I going to turn on manual focus and then decide I'm going to sit back here and suddenly be out of focus. That's not good video content. Just checking chat here. Looks like we're all good. So I'm going to run the, what's your live stream setup consist of? Way more than this is currently using. Streamer News Season 3 is going to be something huge. Let me tell you that. But before we get to that, let's run our sponsored spot and I will be right back.
박수 PlayStation.
When moving, it's very important to stay connected, but it's also important to save money. Today's sponsor can help you do that at the new and improved EposVox.ting.com. Cut your phone bill in half with T-Mobile's brand new plans. Talk and text for only $10 a month, data plans starting at just $15 a month, 5 gigabytes of data for $25 a month, and unlimited from $45 a month. I think their new Flex plan is the way to go for non-data heavy users. You pay for what you actually use during the month. So things are cheaper and you're never paying for unused services, which is always a frustrating part of any communication service. You start at just $10 a month for unlimited talk and text, but then pay just $5 per month per gigabyte that you actually use each month. And you get access to the best nationwide coverage in America, as well as Ting's award-winning customer service. Head on over to the link in the description to check your current phone, make an account, choose the right plan for you, and Ting will send you a SIM card to get activated in minutes. The next generation of Ting Mobile is here. See how much you can save at EposVox.ting.com and save $25 on your phone bill today.
Sega is rolling out a new video game console this week.
It's one world. Why view it through two windows? Panasonic introduces the 36-inch SVGA TV.
Okay, welcome back. Oh. I clicked the wrong thing. Is that the sound of savings? Ting! Anyway, Explorographer said the A7S can do eye autofocus and it actually works. I've never seen that option in mine. I thought mine had face detect, but I am only getting wide zone, center, and all of the normal stuff at the moment. But I changed around the autofocus settings because I used the A7S II to do my my B-roll as I was tearing down the retro room for that video, and so I've never quite gotten it set up the way that I used to have it, so I could be missing the setting here, but generally the autofocus works fine as is. Like I said, I've got a weird angle, so like if I turn off my lights, then it can't see me at all, but this is fine. Anyway, if you're new to the Streamer News show, after we run a sponsored segment, we do some unboxings, and I have quite a few packages here and in the floor that we're going to run through today that I just have been, yes, please do message me, Explorographer. I've been stacking these up, like finding them at my P.O. box. There's actually more at my P.O. box I'm wanting to go to today and did not have time for, but stuff you guys have sent me, stuff that's in my P.O. box, eBay buys. At this point, I don't know where what half of this stuff is. But we're gonna go through some of it so I can get rid of the boxes and clear out some space, and I want to hold on to it. I was gonna do a dedicated, like, just film myself unboxing it for whenever Streamer News came back, but since we're here, we're gonna do it now and go ahead. Ursa webcam win. Actually, depending on where my camera angles end up, I will probably set up the Ursa Mini Pro for certain tutorials to basically just be like a super side angle tutorial webcam as well. I've got some really cool ideas coming. I don't have the space behind my desk to use it as a normal webcam, but we got some cool stuff planned. It's taken a lot of time. I expected to have everything ready to go January 1st, and that was nowhere near the case. But let me tell you, the wait for everything, both for videos, for live stream content, for all of it, will be well worth it. I am super stoked. So this is a package from, ow, I'll just stab myself in the gut, from the United Kingdom. Probably something I pre-ordered and forgot about. Oh, it's not from the United Kingdom. I ordered this on eBay. It's a controller holder in the shape of Master Chief. It also holds your phone. I was going to use this for like phone shots, for B-roll, things like that, as well as just to hold a controller. And I like Halo. Honestly, I forgot that I bought this, so that's hilarious. It's a controller good thing. They have one that's Crash too that I really wanted, but it was like $100. I'm not paying $100 for a little statue of Crash to hold my controller. So, that can go over here. Alright, we have this one. This one's from Korea. I do know what this is. I am annoyingly stoked for this. M1 vid whenever I get to it. I literally just logged into it and set it up for the first time last night, so it'll be a little bit. I am nowhere near at proper video making capacity at the moment. This is so dumb. I can't believe I bought it, honestly. So I got a friend of a friend to help me import Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 from Korea. Because it has K-pop music. It's got K-pop stuff instead of the normal early 2000s rock. So I am super stoked just to play this and mess with it. Obviously you could download the mods for it and stuff, but for whatever reason I wanted the actual copy just for the novelty of it. I also loved Tony Hawk Pro Skater, so most of my playtime will be in the remaster because they're so good, but I could not resist. It was like $20 on Korean eBay, and it's still sealed. Like, it has not... These are new in-box copies. It's just amazing. I don't know. Halo Infinite, you gonna play? Of course I am. Oh, boxes are falling everywhere. BBK's excited. I saw that. Alright. This one was sent by a friend of the channel who I'm actually not supposed to name, so I'm not going to. You know, normally when we get things, I want to give shout outs and stuff. This is not that kind of scenario. But I can still show it off in video. This should be pretty cool. Although, we have styrofoam, so we'll see. Oh dear God. At least it's packed safe, I guess. Okay. We'll get to it one day. This amazing, ugly thing. It's basically a giant paperweight, but this is a PlayStation 4 dev kit. It's completely useless. I don't have activation keys for it or anything. Thank you for the Patreon pledge, Chris Petit. Also, I forgot to give a shout out to Maddie Fresh Gaming for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. This is a PlayStation 4 dev kit. It is a monster. And honestly, it is super ugly looking, but I love it for that reason. Just because it's ridiculous. If I cover up the serial here, on the back we have a USB host. I'm not entirely sure what that's used for. We got dual LAN. Looks like we got the removable hard drive bay, the aux connector for the webcam, HDMI out, and optical audio. It's just a pretty neat little thing. Just to add to the collection. Like I said, this one does not work. There is quite literally no way of doing anything on this. It won't even play retail games. But something about adding it to the collection just feels awesome. And honestly, the case is big enough. Hello. Okay, now the autofocus is going to show its butt. All right. The case is big enough that part of me kind of wants to do a PC build inside of it. That might be blasphemous to the people who prefer preserving those things, and I don't know that I necessarily want to. But I feel like I want to do a PC build inside the PS4 dev kit. Could be pretty cool. All right, we have all of this styrofoam to get rid of. And we've got more boxes. And then we'll get to the rest of the topics, because we have like 3 more boxes after this one. Can you fit an ITX Mobo in it? Yeah, probably. I would have to like 3D print a custom IO shield or something for it, but it could totally work. So this is from Retro Game Treasure. It's a subscription service where you can get old retro games to like fill in your collection. Now they do give you options where you can list games you already have, games you don't want, choose your genres, choose your platforms, all of that. I just pick it up for whatever and trade off whatever games I don't want. But we have, and unfortunately I keep forgetting to cancel my foreign games. So we have a Taito game that of course I don't recognize, but I will probably enjoy. Oh, now you don't want to autofocus? That's hilarious. There we go. Then we have Combat for the Atari. Oh, come on. Well, whatever. Combat for the Atari. We have a Super Mario Yoshi stylus for the DS. I had no idea they gave those out. We've got Siphon Filter Logan Shadow for the PSP. That's amusing because I think I just got the original Logan Shadow for like PS2 in my last Retro Game Treasure. And then Lost Planet 3 for the PS3, which is also hilarious because I just got done picking up all of the Lost Planet games on the 360. Could you just put a PS4 Pro inside the dev kit? Kind of. I guess that would be an option. But yeah, no, I feel like I'd want to put a PC in it, especially if I could still use the optical drive. Like, that would be sick. Make it just like a little mini living room gaming PC. Or like media PC or something. Would be pretty cool. And heck, with the disk drive, I could set it up to emulate like PS1, PS2 games and stuff. And kind of PS3 with RC PS3 or PCS3. Oh, okay. So this is a booster box for Pokemon Sword and Shield Vivid Voltage. This is kind of to help serve as an announcement that I will be relaunching a Pokemon TCG channel in the future, because I used to do this a lot. I finally am in a position where I can get back into it. I have invested quite a bit in my launch scope of things to cover, so I have videos. We'll probably do streams of it as well and then edit that down into videos. But, you know, we will try to get some content going for that. I will have more of an announcement once I actually have a new video up on the channel. Strategically with the YouTube algorithm and stuff, if I just point you to the channel first and you subscribe, that helps me less than if I point you to the first new video and you subscribe based on that video. So I'm waiting for that. This one I believe is another eBay grab. We are almost done here. Oh, okay. This is another TCG, just a Raichu tin. Because I love Raichu. All of the new set, I forgot what it's called already. The new set of Pokemon cards coming out in February are already scalped up until like the double the price that they're supposed to be. It's really bizarre that people are scalping things that don't even exist yet, but super stoked. Are you gonna unbox the Yu-Gi-Oh cards one day too? Yeah, I got a stack of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I'm not into modern Yu-Gi-Oh at all. Like, any of my interest in Yu-Gi-Oh comes from the original anime series with Yugi and Kaiba and the cards around that era. And so I only buy Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that is like reaching back to that era. So like I have like the Kaiba and Yugi Legacy Duelist boxes and things like that. Any of the new stuff is a foreign language to me and I'm just not gonna bother with. All right, we got 3 more big boxes here and then we are done on to the next topics. The rest of these are probably eBay pickups as well. Like I said, I have a few more things in the P.O. box that including something weird from AliExpress that I was super stoked to show off, but I have not had a chance to go to the P.O. Box this week. Card games on motorcycles. Oh, I know what these are. Yes, I'm stoked for these. Well, that sounded lovely. They pulled an LGR on me and included a singular packing peanut. We've got newspaper and foam and paper and one packing peanut. Rude. Anyway, so as you can see behind me here, I am setting up a retro PC gaming section, part of my desk as well. I still need to build that section of the desk, but a goal with this new space is to be able to set up my CRT monitors as well as the LCD monitors, of course, and set up my Windows 98 computer, my Windows XP computer, all of that. For that, I didn't want to have to wear headphones all the time. And so I picked up there we go. Ugh. Some beefy Roland desktop speakers. Now these are not the fanciest ones. They have some that go for like over $100 per speaker and are hard to find. These are fairly basic, but they match the aesthetic and help me get sound out of those computers. And I am super stoked because they're Roland. They're the nice off-white. They're large and they should be pretty good. I'm pretty stoked. I won't make you sit through me opening the second. All right, last couple things here. I believe this one is just another Pokemon card thing. So, like I said, I've got a lot coming for this Pokemon card channel. I am stoked to get back into it. I ran it in 2014. It was actually a big part of my main channel here as well, because my Walmart released the new X and Y set at the time super early, so I just bought a bunch and unboxed them, and suddenly I found myself to be a Pokemon card YouTuber for about a year. Oh yeah. We've got the new set, tin here. The fall 2020 collector tin. The little lunch boxes. I actually use the lunch boxes to store stuff, so I appreciate it. Set that on top of the Zam and Zeta one. Alright, last box. And I don't... Oh, this is from Limited Run Games. So this is something I probably pre-ordered a year ago or 2 years ago at this point. It's a large collection, so I don't know. I changed my address after I moved, of course, and I didn't get a shipping notification for this, so we will see what's actually in here. It is a big set, though. Oh, it's finally here! I have been waiting like a year for this. I haven't even played the game yet because I was waiting on this. Ah, cards! Cards everywhere! No! They really need to come up with a better way to ship their trading cards. Not that I care about them that much, but just always putting them loose in the box makes me nervous. I did get a gold one, though. I did get a gold one. I love the new backs to them. The new backs to them are sick. Alright, so this is the Streets of Rage 4 collection. Which, based on all of the critique from John Linneman, the Digital Founder people, and stuff like that, this is actually a really good game. So, this is, of course, the vinyl soundtrack collection here. I believe it's a 4 LP set. And then we have the collector's edition of the game itself. Which I believe I got on PS4. we will find out. Ooh, okay. So we've got a mini soundtrack on CD, their exclusive track selection, and their little weird magazine thing. We have the collector's edition itself. This thing is freaking huge. So, when they announced that they were delaying shipping this because of production or whatever, pandemic, COVID, whatever, they actually gave out Steam keys for it so that you could play it in the meantime. And honestly, I've just been too busy. I have not gotten around to playing it, and I kind of wanted to wait and see. Although I made that mistake with Lawbreakers and waited until I got my limited run games collector's edition of Lawbreakers, and the game was literally dead by the time I got that. So, you take a risk with that. I still have that Lawbreakers, though. Urgh. Is that a CRT monitor? Well, there's at least 3 that you can for sure see behind me. There's technically like 5 CRTs behind me at the moment. Streets of Rage 4. Hide my face. This is sick! It's a Macintosh SE, not an Apple II. I mean, I guess there's whatever, but... Damn! It's a thick case, too. Then we have the mini version of the case. And then, as if the vinyl soundtrack and their own track selection disc wasn't enough, we have the full CD soundtrack. I like video game music. We have a poster that I'm not gonna tear up and open right now. Then we have the statue. What I hate about collector's editions like this, and I use hate, I guess, ironically, sarcastically, something, satirically. What I dislike about collector's editions like this, other than getting them out of the box. Oh, that's a terrible sound, I'm sorry. Okay, that's awful. Oh, come on. I'm gonna mute the mic, hang on. Turn up music. Okay. Bro, my eyes. What I hate about collector's editions like this is that they come in these boxes that are so fancy that I don't want to get rid of them. But, like, I can't keep all these collector's edition boxes. And then I'm, like, torn because I end up storing them forever and then eventually get rid of them when I don't want to. And yes, I am a professional unboxer, okay? I know. Shouldn't be broke with that much sound foam. You would think. Guess they made darn sure that no one would break it. Grab the box with your feet and pull. Jesus Christ. There we go. Oh, there's an art book in here too. Oh, there's so much in here. All right. Alright, Jesus. Into the void. We've got the art of Streets of Rage 4. Just gonna add to my pile for now. We've got the turkey dinner. That's like a stress ball. And then the statue. Oh, this thing is sick. Oh, it smells like plastic. Store them flat. you can't do that with this style of box without destroying it. This is a box you keep games in or something to use. But a lovely bag of do not eat. Here we have the statue. Pretty sick. I dig it. I'm gonna slide it over here so it doesn't break. Let's check out the containers real quick. We got 2 of the Genesis boxes. I don't know if I knew that would be the case. Oh, hello, frame rate. That was weird. Your tiny room is killing you. Yeah, I know the feeling. Wow, no wonder this is so heavy. So this is just like the cart shell. There's obviously nothing inside of it, but this is heavy. Like, this is metal, this isn't plastic. Wow. It's at least coated in some sort of metal. I don't think the whole thing is metal. So that's in this box. That was snapping back into the container. I assume this style Genesis box actually has the game in it? I mean, I did get a Steam key, so like it doesn't matter. I already have the game, but collector's editions that ship without the new game in it always make me a little nervous for whatever reason. So this is the thicker one. Yep, here we go. Oh hey, the sleeve is reversible. If you prefer the Mega Drive style sleeve. They do not want me pulling anything out of these cases. Jesus. And here we have Bare Knuckle 4. And then the Steelbook case. I always dislike it. This is a shallow complaint that doesn't matter. But when they include Steelbooks and the original case, because then I'm like, well, what am I going to do with the original if I have the Steelbook? But whatever. Then we have the Steelbook for the actual Streets of Rage 4 art, which I love. And the game is in the normal PS4 case. So, pretty sick collection overall here. Glad I picked it up. That was way longer of an unboxing segment than we usually do here on Streamer News. But you know what? You deserve it. Or I deserve it, or something. This is what happens when we have a hiatus and I don't get to open anything because I've been moving. Now I gotta figure out where to put all this stuff. That's a problem for another day. Moving on to our next round of topics here. Bam! The GoPro webcam utility, which I never actually finished my video on. I think I talked about it in a Streamer News, but I started a video on it at the old place and never finished it because there's like 3 or 4 different methods to use action cameras as a webcam, and I never got around to filming like the last one I was going to include. But they have updated it to include more models. So now you can go all the way from the Hero 4 Black all the way up to the Hero 9 Black. Whereas before, it was just the 7, 8, and 9, I believe, or maybe even just the 8 and 9. Because I think it was just the 8 and 9, because I had to buy the 8 to test it for that video. And then I ended up returning it because I hated the 8. But now you can use all the way back to the Hero 4 Black with it. So I will probably include this in my video and test, because I have the Hero 6 Black that I usually use over HDMI. And so I will kind of compare that to the HDMI feed, because honestly that isn't great out of the GoPro either. So we've got a couple topics of monitor news here real quick. We were supposed to get DisplayPort 2.0 monitors late last year, and those have been delayed until later this year due to the pandemic, according to Visa. DisplayPort 2.0 allows for 8K, higher refresh rates, blah, 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 you know, typical video upgrade standards. And it's supposed to go up to 80 gigabits per second max, which is 3 times what DisplayPort 1.4 could do, which would be phenomenal. That being said, the HDMI monitor space is supposedly coming along, as we have more HDMI 2.1 monitors from Asus and things like that being announced, However, we still don't have prices for it or availability, which does get kind of frustrating and annoying, because that may mean that we still don't see them for a while, because both Asus and Acer have announced HDMI 2.1 monitors a couple times, and they just keep not showing up. And so we will see here. But of course, HDMI 2.1 allows for 1440p 240 hertz, as well as 4K 144 hertz and 8K stuff. So excited to see that come along. Also in monitor news, LG finally announced, oh, I just minimized the wrong window. LG finally announced a new OLED monitor. Oh, that's still HDMI 2.1. LG finally announced an OLED monitor that's smaller. Now, we have all kind of complained at this point about the LG CX line of TVs, which are 4K, 120 hertz. They have G-Sync, they have HDMI 2.1, a whole lot of good stuff. But they have only been available as small as 48 inches. And that's just not usable as a desk monitor anyway. They hadn't... Okay, level cap. And up to this point, they hadn't had any that were lower. So LG have formally announced a 31.5 inch or 32 inch 4K OLED that's more designed at content creation, video production, things like that. So it's under the ultra-fine line of monitors. However, people have confirmed to me behind the scenes that this is not using the LG panels like you would see in the LG CX TVs, but rather using JOLED panels, which I'm not familiar enough with to speak on, but supposedly that's what they are using. So if that matters to you, that might be worth noting. We had another bit of acquisition note here that if you saw the Streamer News short that I posted, you would have already known about. But Turtle Beach, who makes gaming headsets, and at one point made the best gaming headsets because there weren't gaming headsets, and now they kind of make things that aren't known for being the best quality, acquired Neat Microphones, who make the Killer Bee and the Bumblebee microphones. They look goofy as heck, but are supposedly really good for the value. I haven't gotten to test them out yet. I should be able to this year, however, assuming things don't get too weird. But Turtle Beach have acquired them so that they can, expand to audio beyond gaming, despite the fact that they used to make audio products beyond gaming in the first place. So this kind of pairs with Logitech acquiring Blue microphones and then kind of sort of pretending to implement Blue audio stuff in their microphones on their headsets, even though it's still the same microphones they used before. So hopefully this doesn't have any too harsh implications for the possible quality of Neat microphones being degraded or something by Turtle Beach's not super well appreciated branding, but we shall see. Yeah, they do last a really long time, but like I still have my original X11s that were my first gaming headphones I ever bought. They're actually in a box over here, but they're not great at this point. It's more of a, we didn't know better and they were just loud, but they weren't necessarily amazing. Moving on, we have Threadripper Pro finally. You may have seen Linus Tech Tips video. I was talking about this on Streamer News before that went up. They didn't realize when they made the video, apparently, that it was going to be announced as a public product outside of the Lenovo sponsorship deal. But we were talking about this all the way back in like November 2019 when Threadripper 3000 originally launched. There were already rumors of there being TRX 40 and TRX 80 / WRX 80. And then that kind of disappeared. And then they did a X amount of time exclusivity agreement with Lenovo workstations, and now they are finally coming to market with real processors. So Threadripper Pro is a new chip, or a new platform, WRX 80, the same style processors, just with 5s on the end of the models, although they are doing 12 and 16 core models, which the previous generation of Threadripper did not have. You have 8-channel memory. You have support for ECC RAM, as well as a couple different types of DIMMs. You have up to 2 terabytes of RAM support, and up to 128 PCIe 4.0 lanes, which is amazing. If you caught my original coverage of Threadripper, I had a back and forth between actually settling on Epic or Threadripper because I wanted the lanes and the flexibility and all the things I could possibly plug into the Epic workstation that I had borrowed from Windle, but it did not work super well with Windows. It had some other issues, and there aren't actually motherboard chipsets for Epic CPUs. It's all on the CPU, whereas the Threadripper Pro has a chipset on the motherboard that handles a lot of this. And so I am super stoked. And in fact, we actually got an announcement for the motherboard that I said I wanted whenever Threadripper came out, which is the Asus Sage line of workstation motherboards. I had this for my Intel 7980XE, the X299 platform. I had a Sage motherboard, which had 7 or 8 slots. They weren't all X16 since Intel didn't have that many lanes, but they were still that size slots, which allowed me to use a lot more of my capture cards and things like that in the rig. And this is a similar deal. You've got 8 DIMM slots, 8 channel memory. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 PCIe full 16X slots. You've got lots of power. You've got right angle connectors for all the front panel stuff, which is going to be a pain in the butt to hook up in a case given how big the motherboard is, or what have you. And we also got an official announcement of this motherboard from ASUS here. They actually just announced it today, even though it was already available on their website. But we've got a decent amount of USB. I would prefer to see more USB, and I'm at the point, which not an option for everybody, but I would rather get rid of the front panel audio and just put USB there myself. But then you've got 20 gigabit per second USB Type-C, lots of 10 gigabit per second USB Type-A. You've got dual 10 gig NICs, which is pretty cool. And you got Wi-Fi 6 on board as well. So lots of expandability here. And as a lot of people are noting, the socket is actually rotated 90 degrees from the usual Threadripper layout. So while the mounting hardware should all be the same, you might have some issues mounting coolers based on the rotation that may cause you some issues. I'm not really sure though. But they should be available to the public in March 2021. And then of course there's some workstation builds for Serve to Home and stuff like that available as well, which is pretty freaking baller. Going back to audio for a second, I want to point you to the Twitter account of Beacon. So I don't think they have, they don't have anything other than this little GIF announcement here. But Beacon is essentially some of the original team that built the GoXLR over at TC Heligon and Music Tribe. A lot of that team behind the marketing and the product design for the GoXLR actually left TC Helicon and Music Tribe not too long after the GoXLR launched, like maybe a year after the GoXLR launched. And that's why we haven't heard much from them about updates or new products or whatever. There were actually quite a few new GoXLRs that were supposed to have come out by now, as far as I understood it, that have not. There is still some new stuff coming that I can't talk about yet, but the original team that released is now known as Beacon here and are going to be talking about their new products soon. I wouldn't expect it to be a direct GoXLR competitor necessarily, but they will have some products from that same team coming soon. Actually, they have a YouTube channel linked as well now. Still no information available just yet, but it is a goofy startup name, but should be pretty cool. Those PCIe slots look awfully close together. Going back to the motherboard here, that's standard spacing. The only issue you do run into, having used the Sage motherboard with the exact same spacing myself, the spacing isn't an issue other than your GPU is going to cover up one of the slots. An issue you may run into, however, is that top slot is much higher up than on most motherboards. Most motherboards actually skip the first slot. Like if you've ever built in a full ATX tower case, that first slot is usually just a blank PCIe cover and not used. This one actually uses it. Now, since these are all X16, you theoretically don't need to put your GPU in the top slot anymore. And so that's not necessarily a problem. But on the Intel board I used, the GPU had to go in the top slot, and it bumped so close to the Noctua coolers and things like that I had into it that you couldn't put a backplate on your GPU because it was too thick, even just for like a tiny little backplate. So while the cooler won't be an issue here, you may have some issues with the RAM slot here, like you or the IO shield block thing here. So you'll just have to be careful in that regard. But like I said, these are all X16 lane slots, not just size slots, but those all have 16 lanes. And so you could put a GPU wherever the heck you wanted. There is still at least 2, I believe 3 M.2 drive slots here. I think it's one here-ish, and one on the back, I want to say, on top of the onboard U.2 ports. And so you got plenty of storage expandability. Maybe there's not one on the back. Either way, you got plenty of storage capacity available here, so should be pretty cool. All right, got a couple more topics to round off today. The gaming YouTube scene has released a new list of advertiser-friendly guidelines specific to gaming YouTube channels. Now, they always had just generic ones, but they've adapted some specifically for gaming channels when it comes to maintaining monetization on those channels and some tips and things like that in terms of differences between light, strong, and extreme profanity, when you should and shouldn't turn on ads, how you mark violence when it's in gameplay, things like that. So if you run a gaming channel and you're concerned about that because you do have to self-certify now, that is something that you should work with. Muted? What is muted? I'm not muted. Nope. What? Certified now. That is something that you should work with. I'm playing the stream back. I can see I'm... What is muted? I'm not muted. Someone's trolling me. Anyway, I'm gonna... yeah, I'm gonna continue. I think Gradient just has their stream. Anyway, Twitter has relaunched and started enforcing as of today their new guidelines for verification. They started enforcing it today. Unfortunately, you cannot request verification yet. You'll be able to request it through your account settings. How can half the people say they hear me and half the people say they can't hear me? You guys are broken. I think you all just want me to end the stream like confused as heck. Anyway, Twitter has new guidelines for verification. There's some weird stuff here. Like, they found it to be too strict to require a banner for verification, so they removed that requirement, but then the rest of their stuff is still absurd. So I don't know who is supposed to be verified that finds it too restrictive to have a banner on it, but whatever. They also have new account labels, such as for government employees, the president, bots, things like that. But they will also kind of try to automatically verify channels as well. Here's the new verification policy. You have to be notable. They have different categories you may fall into. Journalists have some weird, like you have to have 3 bylines on qualifying publications within the past 6 months, which is weird. So for content creators, you may still have issues. And then there's certain things like you need to be in the top 0.1% of active accounts located in the same geographic region, which is just so weird. But also, you have no way of knowing that. Like right now, if I want to get verified, I might be within the top 0.1% of accounts located in my geographic region if it's small enough. I don't know what determines those regions, but I would never know. Like, it doesn't tell you that you're in the top 0.1%. So there's a lot of weird requirements here, and so this actually still keeps it pretty inaccessible, but it will be interesting to see if they still kind of have some leeway for content creators and notable names and things like that, because this is more kind of like general requirements for people who aren't known for specific things, but I don't know. And lastly, I threw in here last minute a couple things here. First, Tamagotchi is back. They're coming out with the Tamagotchi Pix, which has a built-in camera and touch buttons. I'm actually stupidly excited for this because Tamagotchi was really cool back in the day. Hopefully it's not just a cash grab and it lives up to some of the original kind of enjoyment over it. And then Humble actually has a new Humble bundle for design software, and it's a really good deal. So if you pay at least $1, you get Pinnacle Studio 24 Ultimate. Then if you pay $8.55 or more, you get Multicam Capture XL, which I was going to look into because I have no idea what it is. It looks to just be like just a generic little video program. I don't know that I would trust it. You know, use OBS, follow my tutorials, but hey. But then if you pay $30 or more, you get Corel Painter Pro 2020, which is usually $400. It's very sought after, as well as all of these brush packs. So if you're interested in digital art, wanting to upgrade software, things like that, it's worth picking up, and there's a lot of good value here. And of course, things go to charity. So there you go. That's about it. After enough of the trolling of me being muted or not muted or what have you. There you go. So thank you so much for all of your support, guys. Thank you for watching today's episode of Streamer News and hanging out with me and checking out my massive unboxing. We still have a lot of work to do on the studio. It's going to be really exciting. We are not quite done yet. This is a streaming setup I built in like a couple hours yesterday just to be able to go live, but we will have to continue the moving vlogs to see where it goes. Got a couple chat messages here. Verification is overrated. I don't entirely agree. What if you move? Do you use it? I don't think so. I think you only lose it if you start breaking the rules according to what they had shared. I got a question for you. Just replaced a deck link here and my broadcast director couldn't see it in OBS. Yes, the latest version of OBS. They made a big deal about this on their website. The latest version of OBS requires you to update the desktop video software. I actually had to do this. Whoa. OBSproject.com. You just have to update the Blackmagic deck link software. View on GitHub. Here, I will go back to the split real quick here. Where is the release notes? Deck link. Oh yeah, so the hotfix fixed it working not in the first place, but when they added the update to add in captions and things like that, you have to update desktop video from Blackmagic's website. And I had to do this over here because I moved my OBS config from the Retro Room PC, which was running an older version of OBS and Decklink, over to this PC, and then OBS wouldn't see it anymore. It would see it, but it would be a black screen. But updating desktop video, and then you have to restart, and then there was an update for my Decklink in the first, like the card itself, and then I had to shut down and restart again, and then it worked. So that's it. Is there an M1 vid coming soon? Yep, talked about it at the beginning of the stream. All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks so much for your support on Streamer News, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. I probably have a video coming. Oh, actually, not yet. Shoot. Sorry. I wanted to talk about Streamer News Season 3. So as I mentioned at the start of the stream, this is kind of an in-between episode, in between seasons. I try to do major upgrades or improvements to the format and the show each season or whatever. This is still just kind of like a season 2.5 bonus episode, and we may have one or two more of those as I need to fill the time to finish everything up because this is taking forever. But season 3 will be multi-streamed across Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere I can figure out how to do it at once. And I'm going to be doing a video about building my own RTMP server for that as well. And we're going to have some major upgrades to the format. So I am super stoked. Again, we may still have a couple individual episodes that are not in the new season yet, but get ready for that. And I will probably have a new video coming this weekend because I'm kind of behind on my slot. Like, I was supposed to have two videos on a stream this week, and I only had one video so far, so I'll probably have an extra video this weekend. Check it out. All right, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna go play Streets of Rage 4. I'll see you next time. For real this time. Bye!